When a new shonen manga starts being published on Shonen Jump, there's a lot of uncertainty on whether or not the manga is going to continue for a long time, and authors usually don't know exactly what they were going for in their very first chapter. Now, some authors already have the entire story figured out, but others know that they may have to implement some changes if the story doesn't do so well in the beginning. And sometimes you just get new concepts and ideas as the story goes, so this causes the first chapters of a manga to usually be a little weirder than the rest of the series because authors were just trying wacky ideas. And things that are later on completely forgotten or just, thrown to the wayside because they don't fit so well with the universe that was created after those initial chapters. So today I'm going to talk about a very interesting element of the Naruto series that most people look and don't even think too much about because it really disappears after chapter 2. Do you guys remember when Hiruzen had a crystal ball and he could peer into what was happening with Naruto really far away from his location? Yeah, that happened in Naruto Chapter 1, when Naruto was going through the entire ordeal of stealing the secret scroll, the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Hiruzen sent several shinobi to go after him. Mizuki was going after him as well because he wanted the scroll for himself, and Iruka was trying to stop Naruto from doing anything stupid. Meanwhile, the third Hokage was looking at Naruto and what was happening through the crystal ball, even though he was in his office. The orb is heavily featured in the first chapter. Hiruzen even sees the conclusion of Naruto and Iruka's ordeal there when Naruto used the 1000 shadow clones and then Iruka makes Naruto a ninja and says, oh, okay, everything is solved, everything is good, while he was watching the orb. He uses the orb again in chapter 2, but after that, it pretty much vanishes from the story entirely. The crystal ball is really one of those concepts introduced earlier in the series in that Kishimoto thought, okay, this is not gonna fit very well with the verse, it's not gonna be so good if I keep on using it for the story, so let me just kind of erase it from existence. Obviously, Kishimoto's initial intention with the crystal ball was to make Hiruzen look like this wise, older, but very intelligent and all-knowing figure in the Leaf Village, the Hokage, the leader of the entire people. There is something quite epic about an older man with a beard peering into a crystal ball as if he knows everything that's going on. And that's certainly the vibe Kishimoto was trying to go for with Hiruzen there. Now, I'm not against you building up that vibe, but the thing is, Kishimoto made the right decision in just trying and ignoring what was happening with the crystal ball there and just erasing it from the story because it is way too broken, and it could cause several problems for the narrative, so just kind of forgetting it exists solves a lot of problems. Yes, it would have been better if the crystal ball had never existed for continuity purposes, because there are several situations later in the series that if you had the crystal ball, then yeah, you could have solved many problems just by seeing where people were and what they were doing, just like Hiruzen was doing in Chapter 1 to Naruto. Because if he could watch the entire fight between Iruka, Mizuki, and Naruto, he could watch several other important events happening in the Naruto series. And then you may justify the crystal ball's absence by saying that Hiruzen broke it or somebody else broke it and therefore Hiruzen can't use it anymore. But the thing is, the ball itself is not what causes Hiruzen to see through events. It's a jutsu. It's an ability that you can use to spy on pretty much anyone. It's absolutely broken. You just need a crystal ball. The jutsu's name is the telescope technique, and it is described as follows. By peering into a crystal ball, the user can see the current activities of anyone whose chakra signature they know. Users can view subjects from any location regardless of distance or potential obstructions, making it ideal for intelligence gathering. The third Hokage used this technique to monitor villagers of the Konoha village and thus maintain public order. Now, this last phrase sounds really ominous, doesn't it? He spies on people to maintain public order. That seems like a pretty damn harsh breach of privacy. I have to assume this is one of the things he used to keep Naruto in check whenever Naruto was alone and growing up in the Leaf Village, but it can be an extremely powerful instrument to keep the stability in your village, and also for espionage purposes like can you imagine how powerful this thing is? Yes, in order for you to peer into what's happening to somebody, you need to know the person's chakra signature. Obviously, Hiruzen is going to know the chakra signature of everybody in the Leaf Village, so that already gives you a lot of people, but we don't know exactly what constitutes you knowing the chakra signature of someone. If it's you just knowing that person, then Hiruzen would know way more people that he could peer into with a crystal ball. If you have to do some sort of ritual or just maybe feel the chakra of that person, that would maybe diminish the number, but still, Hiruzen would be able to spy on the strongest people in the verse, the most dangerous shinobi. He probably met several rogue ninjas that are wanted. He definitely met every single Kage, so like, if you want to know what's happening in the village next door, I mean, just let me take a look at the crystal ball, and there seems to be absolutely no indication for the person that's being spied that something is happening. Naruto doesn't feel anything when Hiruzen is looking through the orb. It's just happening as though, like, nothing else is interfering with your actions. Can you see how absolutely broken this is? Even if you don't want to use it for espionage, just having Hiruzen looking at events that's happening with ninjas that are going on missions, for example, is something very interesting. Like, imagine if somebody was peering into Jiraiya versus Pain when Jiraiya went to the Ring Village to fight against Pain. You could have found out many things that Jiraiya wasn't able to pass on because he died. As a matter of fact, using the telescope technique to look over people that are going to very difficult missions should be a standard practice in the Leaf Village because it just makes sense. If this is gonna be a dangerous assignment, let's watch what's going on so that we know if something goes wrong and if we can send some help. You could even develop an entirely new form of communication that, well, I know somebody is looking at me with a crystal ball, so let me just do some hand signs or something to communicate with the person watching me what's going on, if I need help, if there's nothing wrong, or whatever. Now you can maybe justify the absence of this feature in the verse because Hiruzen is the only person that knows this jutsu, or there's only a handful of people that wouldn't know how to do it. After all, the jutsu is listed as an A rank technique, which is definitely a higher rank, the second highest you can possibly achieve. The S rank jutsus are the most powerful ones, and only a handful of people have those. A jutsus are really rare as well, because for instance, the Rasengan is an A rank jutsu, and only a few ninjas ever master it. But even still, it's not just one, so this jutsu is probably teachable to more powerful and skillful ninjas that would have this specific ability. Like, can you just think about how many situations could have been avoided if Hiruzen was using this actively during the series? When Orochimaru was trying to invade the Chunin exams, I am pretty sure that Hiruzen, being Orochimaru's student, would have Orochimaru's chakra signature, unless somehow he changed his own signature, which maybe he could do it, but like, Hiruzen could have at least tried to peer into what Orochimaru was doing. And if he did so, he could have seen Orochimaru assassinating the 4th Kazekage, he could have seen him infiltrating the exams, he could have prepared much better for the plot to destroy the Leaf Village. And also, Hiruzen being one of the only people who knew Itachi's actual intentions in massacring the Uchiha clan, and that he was working for the Leaf Village the entire time, he could have used this jutsu to spy on Itachi to gather intel on the Akatsuki, because Itachi's purpose to joining in the Akatsuki was to deliver information about the Akatsuki to the Leaf Village. So if Hiruzen could have used this jutsu to get info on the Akatsuki because Itachi was near them, it would have been amazing and nobody would have detected it. And theoretically speaking, the Leaf Village should have absolutely no rogue ninjas that are at large with this jutsu, because Hiruzen can just look at what they are, and then you can send ninjas to go and capture them. Now, the only counter I can see for this jutsu is for you to stay inside a dark box or a dark room where Hiruzen can't really see where you are, and therefore, you know, it's pretty much useless to peer into your life. But sometime you're gonna have to go away and do something, you know? But okay, when I said Hiruzen was the only character to use this jutsu, I kinda lied, because there's another character that uses a crystal ball to peer into events. And that person is going to be Gamamaru, the Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku, that very old toad that gave Jiraiya the prophecy. The dude was pretty much watching the Naruto versus Pain fight and everything unfolding through the crystal ball, so he apparently had Naruto's chakra signature, because I mean, I guess Naruto was training in Mount Myoboku, so he could have gotten it, and he was watching everything unfolding with Gamabunta on his side. Gamabunta got severely injured in the fight against Pain, and he returned to Mount Myoboku to get healed up and stuff. He was all bandaged up, and Gamamaru was just next to him. They were talking about, oh, Naruto's the chosen one, and yada yada yada. So Kishimoto apparently thought it was a good idea to give this jutsu to somebody else, even though, like, there's so many situations this jutsu could have been used to other very useful effects, other than just like, oh, let me watch this fight and comment on it. So it does cause problems for the world building. Why wouldn't more people try to use this jutsu? Why wouldn't entire nations focus their efforts into learning this ability, or maybe just lend fire because they're the ones who apparently knew it? Be an entire division for each village bent on gathering chakra signatures for everybody they can get their hands on so that they can be spied on. And yeah, A rank is just way too low for this jutsu, even though A rank is relatively high. This should be a jutsu, if Kishimoto wanted to introduce it, that required a lot of prep time, or it required a lot of chakra, or that like only Hiruzen in the entire history of the world mastered it, and his usage was very limited. Because that's the thing, when Hiruzen is looking at Naruto in chapter 1, it doesn't even look like his putting a lot of effort into it. It looks like it's just staring at a TV, but instead it's a crystal ball. And yes, he does take a little while to find Naruto, whatever that means, because he doesn't go immediately to the crystal ball and gets his image. He has to do some stuff before, pretty much just, you know, waving his hand over the orb. But if you have the chakra signature, you are eventually going to find the person. So like, this is a classic example of an ability that can break the entire verse if you just don't ignore it completely. Think about Obito and what he was doing in Naruto Shippuden, for example. If Kakashi had access to this ability, which is actually possible for him to do so because he can literally copy A-rank jutsus. The Rasengan was copied with his Sharingan, so in theory he could also copy this one, the telescope technique. Kakashi certainly saw the masked man when he was in the Itachi Pursuit arc, and he could just peer into the crystal ball to see what Obito was up to. He would find out that the masked man is Obito because he doesn't live with his mask 24/7, and he could have gathered so much more intel on the Akatsuki, especially because Kakashi faced several Akatsuki members before. So really the decision not to bring this jutsu up again was a good one, but then Gamamaru all of a sudden is able to use it. Just so that they can say those words, oh, Naruto, he finished the cycle of hatred. He was the boy that was chosen. Definitely not the wisest decision from a world-building standpoint, because you just wonder, why are not more people using crystal balls, man? Because this is just way too broken. Especially in a world where information is key. In the shinobi world, ninjas, they deal in information almost. Anyway, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and it helps me with YouTube algorithm and all that. Watch this other video right here for more Naruto content just like this, and thank you so much for watching.